All righty. Hello. I see people are coming on. We are live. Let me do a couple of quick adjustments here so the camera doesn't go flopping around. Well, hello. I see Marianne and Paulin and Pat. Okay. And I know there are some others watching too. So hello to everyone. Alrighty. So today we're going to be doing, now wait a second here. I lost my video. Hang on. If I lose you, I'll come right back on. Okay. But right now I'm checking with my laptop and it has nothing. Okay. I think we're okay. I know there's a little bit of a lag between the camera and the laptop, so hopefully this will be going okay. Marianne, you're in Maine, so you don't have your kit with you. Okay, well, this is something that, I mean, it doesn't take much time at all to do. You can do it anytime. The replay is always available, so you can always follow along with that when you have the kit. Okay, so you guys see me all right and hear me okay and all that jazz. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Mary. Okay, all right, so today, let me point the camera down here if I don't lose you. Okay, this is the pumpkin, the fall pumpkin pendant that I had put some kits out for anyone who wanted them. They are just a piece of copper. This is 20 gauge copper. And what I had done was I made a rolling mill plate maybe about a year ago or so. I had made a rolling mill plate. This isn't the best, but I'm still learning with this stuff. So I have a feeling this is gonna, I rolled a whole bunch of these and I can see that this edge is wearing down a little bit. So I'm gonna need to remake this plate at some time. But it's kind of a handy thing to have. I've settled on this size. I thought this was nice for a pendant size, but you can make them any way you like, any size you like. So there's a little smaller, there's a little larger. I had made these from a pattern that I purchased from my Silhouette Cameo program. So that was kind of a neat, I thought it was a neat pattern. So that's how these came to be in existence. So I made all these little things. And I just colored them with some alcohol ink, which I'll go through all the steps with you. So, hey, Suni. Hey, Deb. Yeah, okay. Awesome. All right, and I also have a handout at the end, like usual, that I will post in the group after the demo's over. All right, so I'm going to push this or move this out of the way. And then we'll get started. Now, you can use a jeweler saw to cut your shape with if you want, or you can use metal shears. I had cut the majority of the ones that I've done so far with the jeweler saw, but to save time and also to not show the struggles of my sawing skills, I thought I would cut this one out with metal shears today. All right. Oh, I got hot pipes today. All right, so I'm just using regular metal shears, and I'm going to cut this pattern with the shears with, I think I said 20 gauge. This is 22 gauge. I might have said the incorrect gauge number there, but it's easier to cut the metal with 22 gauge with the with the metal shears. So, but if you're going to saw it, probably a little heavier metal would be nice. But I'm just going to follow along the edges of the design the best I can with the shears. You can be a lot more precise with the jeweler saw, but like I said, to avoid humiliation, I'm just going to cut this out by hand. And you can do a fairly decent job if you take your time with it. All right. And then I'll look at the laptop in a few minutes to answer any questions if you have them. Going around the stem is a little trickier. I can't get quite as close to all the details in the stem with the metal shears, but so far so good. This is just a little quick and easy project, and cute. Just be careful not to cut yourself. I can't get as close to cutting the stem really well with the shears, but that just may be my lack of skill with the shears, or that's just the way it is. And also you could outline the design, the imprinted design with a Sharpie marker if you wanted, so that you could see the design lines a little bit better where you're going to cut. Okay, so this bent a little, so I'm just going to okay, so I've got it basically cut out. Get rid of my scraps so I don't poke myself with it. And then I'm going to take a file and I'm going to smooth all these edges because they are pretty sharp. I don't know if I was in the frame or not while I was cutting this. I just noticed my camera's off to the side a little bit. So I'm just going to take one of these emery boards. It's a rough grit, and just give it a quick file all over. I have a wet sander that I generally use when I'm trimming edges like this, but it's in another room attached to my sink, so I can't do that, but that makes real short work of this filing. But you want to make sure you get all the sharp edges filed off, smoothed off. And then I'm going to take my micromotor or flex shaft, if you have one of those, that you can really smooth the edges a little bit better with. My little stem, pumpkin stem, got a little bit smashed. All right, I'm going to use the micromotor, so I'm putting on my face mask and my dust shield because I hate all those little pieces flying down my neck from the silicone wheel that I'm using. All right, so I think I have that on here, right? It's a little crookedy. I guess it's okay. And I'm just going to go in those little areas that I couldn't get in with the metal shears. And this can refine that detail a little bit. This will smooth it out real nice. But you can do this with your hand files or emery boards just as well. You don't have to have this gizmo, but since I have it, I'm going to use it. Just take all these sharp edges off. And on the bottom, the pumpkin is a little bit wavy, so I'm going to try to replicate that. Okay. So that made short work of that. All right. Okay. Hey, Patty. Oh, good. I was in the frame. Good. Thank you. What metal shears do I use, and where did you get them? These, I believe I got, I think these are Eurotool brand. I'm sure you can find them. Just look up metal shears. They're nothing fancy, but they cut really well. I've had these for a long time. But yeah, I'm almost positive I got these through Eurotool. All right, let's see. What is that tool, Pat? Which one do you mean? The micro tool that I was just using? This micromotor? It's like a flex shaft, only this is portable. So it has a foot pedal and a little box with the motor in it, and I can take it when I teach classes and stuff. It's a lot handier than carting the flex shaft around, the Fordham. I would say it's not quite the speed that the Fordham flex shaft has, but it still works pretty darn good for how I use it. The white wheel. Okay, the white wheel is a knife edge, and it's like a pumice wheel. It's like a silicone wheel that's got like little coarse grit in there. This is the white are the coarsest, and they take down all these little edges really quick. However, you blow through these really fast. So you know, I try to keep these the knife edge ones for the little tight areas that I need to get into, and then just use the regular round discs for other needs. Okay, so hopefully that explains that. Okay, so let me get some of this stuff out of the way. In your kit, if you got one, you would have gotten the pumpkin, the shape. You've gotten a chain, some head pins, and a couple of jump rings, and some crystals, and a couple of applicators for the alcohol ink. Okay, so what I need, yeah, Suni, those wheels are they are super handy to have. You can get them, I think they're like maybe a dozen in a bag, or you could get a bulk package of like 50. So these I did get from Eurotool as well, but I know other companies sell them too. So you can look on Rio or some of the other jewelry companies. My words are gone right now. I don't know where they went. All right, so I'm going to get, next step, so I've got this all smooth, and I'm going to take a dapping block, the large one, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a curve, not a lot. So I'm going to just tap this. I kind of just walk this little tool around a little bit just to give it enough of a curve. I don't want it to be, you know, completely flat is a little bit boring, but to have a little dimension is kind of nice. Dimension, not dimension. Okay. All right, so I've given that a little bit of a curve, and now I'm going to put my hanging hole in, and for that I'm just using a 3/32 hole punch, and I'm just eyeballing where I want to put that hole. Now you have to be super careful when you're punching out this hole because you don't have a lot of room on here. But I like to have the larger hole because I typically use these large oval, I'll call it a jump ring, but really it was a copper chain that I disconnected all the links. I patinaed all of it, and then I disconnected the links, and they make super nice jump rings for hanging things, but they are a little bit thicker. So the smaller end, the 1/16 end of the 2-hole punch is a little bit too small for this to fit through, but if you're just using a standard jump ring, probably the 1/16 edge would work, or end would work, but and you would take less of a gamble cutting through the edges of your stem, which would be awful, because then you'd have to find some other way to hang it, if that. So, and especially if you hand sawed it all out, I'd be mad if I cut through the stem and had to do another one. So just position it carefully, making sure that you have enough copper on each side of where you want to put the hole, and then let her rip. And you just have to twist it until you feel it break through. You don't have to go all the way down with it. And really, if you did go all the way down with it, you probably would leave a mark from the tool itself on the front. So you want to avoid that. So as soon as you can feel it break through, then you can undo it. So there's the hole. Okay. And I do the hole after I do the dapping, because sometimes, well, I would say most often, if you dap the piece with the hole in it, you're going to distort the hole, and then the jump ring's not going to fit quite right. So that's that. So then you have your pumpkin. Now, because we're using alcohol inks, I am going to patina this. I'm going to give it a liver of sulfur patina. And I do that because the alcohol ink shows up better when there's a little bit of cover over the shiny silver. I'm not sure how to describe that, but in some of the ways when I use, in some of the techniques that I use alcohol inks, I will typically use a white latex paint and kind of dap that all over, and then I'll apply my alcohol ink, and it really brings a more vibrant color, but it actually covers all the copper. So that's a whole nother story. I don't really want to get into that, but I've done a couple of demos doing that technique. So if you refer back to those, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But this I want to do on the raw copper, but the patina just helps it stand out a little bit better. So I'm going to put, I've got a little cup warmer over here, and I got that heated up. I've got some water heated up, and I'm going to put a little bit of liver of sulfur gel, this XL gel, in my water. Just a little dab will do it. All right, stir that around. And it stinks, as liver of sulfur does. I'm going to bring this over here, but you want it to be warm so that it works fairly quickly. All right, where's my tweezers? For such a small project, I have crap everywhere. It happens very quickly. All right, where's my tweezers? Here we go. All right, so if I was smart, I would have put a little basket in here to pick this up easily, but I didn't think about it. It's always harder to retrieve it without the basket. And also by doing the liver of sulfur, the dark stays in the lines, and that shows up better on your design once you put your alcohol ink in there. So I'm just rinsing this off with some water. And grab a paper towel here. Put that out of my way so I don't spill it. So now I'm going to cover this liver of sulfur up because I don't want to smell it for the rest of the demo. So now I'm going to, it's really dark. I'm using a pre-used paper towel here. And I'm going to grab some 4-0 steel wool and I'm going to clean this off. Hey, Susan. Thank you. Yeah, that's my newest little project that I did with one of the Potter impression dies. I absolutely love this. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to just clean that excess liver of sulfur off, front and back, because we just don't need it on the back. And I go around the edges as well to clean that off, get that extra liver of sulfur off. So if you didn't want to do the alcohol inks, I mean, this would look fine just as it is. Kind of nice. But I kind of want to, you know, make it look more like a pumpkin and give it some color. So that's where the alcohol ink does a pretty good job. Now, if you've never worked with alcohol ink, it's very messy. It stains your fingers or hands, whatever. So I'm going to put some latex gloves on, only because it does wash off, but it gets in your cuticle area of your nails, and that usually takes a lot longer to go away, especially if you have dry skin. You know, just kind of, I'm just preparing you because it does happen. It can stain. Hi, Tammy. Thank you. Hi, Nancy. Okay, so I picked butterscotch because I didn't have orange, and found out that the butterscotch worked pretty well on top of the patinaed copper. And meadow green, because that's what I had for the stem. You could get by without doing the stem if you didn't want to buy another bottle of alcohol ink, but I had it, so that's why I'm using it. All right, now with alcohol ink, it runs out very quickly. And I found that these little, oh, I forgot the name of them. These microfiber tips, that's what they are, applicators, work really well. When I did my real job in real life, before I retired, I worked for a dentist for many years. And we used these in the dental office all the time when we were filling teeth and doing different things, just to apply little things. little medicines and different materials inside the teeth. Anyway, I always thought that they were going to be handy for something, and lo and behold, they're very handy with the alcohol inks. The thing with alcohol inks, like what I was saying, is that they run very easily, and you can use these little microfiber tips to help stop the flow if you want. You could use a Q-tip too, but I find that these work even better. I have a little cup with a little bit of alcohol in it if I want to use this sort of like as a paintbrush and I want to change my color. I can kind of clean that tip off and switch to a different color. However, with the microfiber tips, they will wear off. That little microfiber, that little fiber area will come off of the tip if you pretty much if you overuse them. So they're only good for a short while. But I get them in a container. And actually, I think I bought these from a dental supplier online somewhere. They sold to the general public. And there's like, I don't know, 50 of them in here or more. No, 100 pieces in here. So I've used quite a few of them. But they're very handy. All right, so also with alcohol ink, in its runniness, working on paper towels is pretty handy. I would say if you are working with paper towels though, put something else underneath to protect your working surface if you're on a table or whatever, because these bleed through pretty rapidly and you don't want to stain what's ever underneath. All right. But also, well, I'll show you as I'm doing it. I'm going to just pour some of this ink straight from the bottle and kind of move it around on the design. And when you're working with just one color, it's not so much of a threat if there is too much ink, but it generally, the ink just kind of spreads out and it will get in areas that you want to put other colors. So what I'll do is just tip the piece over and let the paper towel absorb the excess. So that way you don't have a big puddle. Working with alcohol inks is different if you've never done it before. You would think that you could add layer on top of layer, but when you do that, you disturb the portion that you already put on. So a lot of times what happens is you add another drop or so because you want to add a little bit more color, but it actually pulls away the color that you had on there first. Hard to describe. You'd have to see it in action to, I think, to understand it. But you just don't want to overwork it. One good coat is usually enough. All right, so now I'm going to switch over to do my stem. I'm just going to clean my applicator a little bit. And then get the green out. It dries pretty quickly, but you still want to be careful that you don't run your colors. The stem is a little more tricky. And that's why I said you don't have to do the green if you don't want to, but I think the contrast is nice. But I want to make sure it doesn't run into the orange, so because it will spread. So that's why I want to keep track of it here between my microfiber applicator tip and my paper towel, and keeping it in this direction so that the ink doesn't go the other way. Let it flow downward on the tip, just like that. I don't feel like I'm giving you really the proper lowdown on these inks, but this is just such a small project. We're not getting real involved with inks on here. But inks are very cool. There's a lot of nice uses with them. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do the head pins, the crystals on the head pins while that's drying. I don't need my gloves anymore. Hey, Jamie. Okay, so take those off. Let this dry. And now I'm going to take my head pins. And I just chose to do 2 orange and 1 green. You can do whatever you want, but that's how I made the kits up, just to do that. So I'm going to wire wrap these little crystals, and I only have the 2-inch copper head pins. It's overkill. 1 inch would have been plenty for as small as these crystals are. But that's what I have, so that's what I'm using. Yeah, you know, Tammy, it's a butterscotch, which is kind of a yellow gold, I would say, almost more so than an orange, but that's why I tried it on a piece of copper, and I couldn't believe how orangey it looked. You know, the result looked so good that I figured I'm not even going to try to find orange alcohol ink. This would work just fine. Okay. All right, so I'm going to wire wrap these. This will only take a minute. If you don't know how to do this, I have a video on making wire wrapped loops on the well, on my YouTube channel. I have all kinds of videos, and it walks you through doing this process very thoroughly, so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And you can start and stop the video and work along with it if you don't know how to do it. All right. So that's one. Kathy, I'm going to seal it when it's all done. Well, when the alcohol ink is all dry. Yep, micro tip applicators is the, or micro applicators, whatever. That's what they are. All right, so I'm going to do all 3 of these. And cut that wire as close as you can so there's no pointy stuff sticking out. And this was called tangerine, and this was aeronite for the crystals. These are Swarovski crystals. I guess you can't get them anymore. I guess they stopped production. You might find some shops that still carry them, but it's a sad situation. I relied a lot on Swarovski crystals. When I first started out, I did a lot of bead stringing and things, and I have a lot of nice colors, but I can't get them anymore. I know they have another company that's kind of taken their place, but it's not the same. Then I'm going to put Well, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 3 crystals on this small jump ring. This is a 4mm jump ring. Easy peasy. And then I'm going to put that jump ring through the large jump ring, which will be the hanging part of the pendant. Now, I'm going to still let this dry for a little while, but I have another one already ready to be sealed. So I'm going to get that one out, and I'm going to seal it. Oh, that's a good buy, Suni. That's a really good buy. All right. All right, what I have here, I'll move here, is a box that I use for spraying my stuff. And it's just an empty box. You could use a higher walled box if you have that. This is just what I have. And I have a couple of popsicle sticks, craft sticks, if you will, that I'm going to set the piece on, so when I spray it, it doesn't stick to the cardboard. So this just kind of props it up a little bit, and then I'll spray it with the sealer. You can use any acrylic sealer for this. It works, you know, they work really well. You don't have to have anything fancy, just a clear acrylic sprayer, sealer, or spray, whatever. So then that's going to get sealed just like that. I'm not going to spray it in here because I have my computer out and all that stuff, but I would take this in a well-ventilated area or outside, and I would spray that and just let it dry. You know, just let it sit and dry. It'll be dry to the touch fairly rapidly, but I would let it sit at least an hour or two, just undisturbed, so you make sure that you don't get any fingerprints stuck into the sealer. Okay, so then I'll just pretend that that this one is done and sealed, and then I would attach my little jump ring onto that. And put my chain through it and call it a day. These would make nice little gifts for people too. But I think it would carry you all through the whole fall season. It's not particularly for Halloween or Thanksgiving. I think you could wear it all season long if you wanted to. Hey, Deborah. Yeah, alcohol ink is very it's very versatile, but it's also very messy. But you can use it on a lot of different things. I may do some other alcohol ink projects. I've done tiles and not really greeting cards, but on particular paper that is good for working with the alcohol inks. So you may see a demo on some of that coming up. I don't know anytime soon, but you know, it's just kind of fun to work with this stuff. So this was a really quick project. So any of you that got kits, have fun playing with them. You can replay this video. If you have any other questions, just ask. And I don't really have any references to put up on the on the post later on. I'm going to take this back off because I want this alcohol ink to dry really thoroughly before I spray it. D, you're asking if I used a steel plate. Yes, I did. I don't know if you caught it earlier or not, but I made my own plate with 3 sizes of that pumpkin. With my Silhouette Cameo machine, I bought the pumpkin design, and then I transferred it on the steel plate. So that was fun. I want to do some other ones, but I need to do these outside, and outside is not so good for me right now with the construction going on around the house. So but I do want to make some other plates. What brand of alcohol inks do I prefer? I can only tell you the only ones I've ever used are the Ranger Adirondack alcohol inks. Like Tim Holtz, his brand. They're made by Ranger. So I can't tell you, but I know there's a lot of different brands out there, and I'm sure they're probably all very similar. So yes, I did etch the steel. I did etch the steel. That was another demo that I've got in the in my list of demos on the group page, so you can look back and see that. Rhonda and I did a demo together, my friend Rhonda, and it was pretty informative. So yeah, would enjoy another demo on making steam. Well, the plate design, like I said, I'll post the link. That's what I'll do. So that way you don't have to go back and look through all the files for that, and then you can watch it and maybe make some plates. Monica says, I've got some steel. I do remember watching your etching. I need to get back to that. Yeah, it's squirrel. Yeah, there's just so many different things that you can do. But it made short work of making all these little pumpkins, by having the design plate already made. It was pretty simple. So I've got several orders to make more of these too. So I thought that was kind of a good thing that I made this. So instead of using a pre-design, use permanent Sharpie ink. You can. When I've done regular etching, like copper ferric chloride, gotta find my words there, folks. Using the ferric chloride, you can use a Sharpie marker, the industrial ink, which is, it will say on the marker, industrial, and it's in red lettering. If you use the industrial ink for the etching, it won't wash off in the ferric chloride. But if you just used a regular Sharpie, it will wash off. I have found in my own designs, using a Sharpie marker, the designs weren't as crisp as it would be using a stencil or something like that, or a rubber stamp. Those, I've always gotten much better lines when I use those as opposed to the pen. But a pen does have its place in certain designs. Thanks, Monica. It is a cute little pumpkin design, and like I said, I found it in the Silhouette store. That you can buy and download different images when you have that cutter, the Silhouette cutter. So, okay, if there's any other questions, if not, you can always ask them on the group page. I will put up the handout so that you can make your own at home. If you bought the kit, you can replicate just what I did and It's got everything in here just like what I did, so you should be able to follow that along. I know a lot of people are working or have other things to do when I come on at 2:30 in the afternoon, so being able to replay is a nice thing. So, all right, guys. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in 2 weeks. I might do a loom, endless loom project. I got one, I don't know, a few weeks ago or whatever, and I took it on my trip to South Carolina, and I started to do the design, and I thought in my head I knew what I was doing, and then I finished it last night, and it's like, this isn't right. So I missed a very important step in using that loom. So I just cut it all apart a little while ago, and I'm going to redo that. A gnome, Pat, you ask a gnome. You're reading my mind, because I am going to make a gnome Christmas ornament. I'm getting the Potter pancake die, and I'm going to design a gnome for it, and hopefully we'll have kits for that around the holidays. I thought that might be kind of cute, so I've been designing my gnome, and we'll see how that works. I can't draw worth a damn, so I'm hoping it works out okay. Yeah, Marianne, I just ordered the gnome pancake die, so I'm going to try to etch a little design for his body, and I think that's going to be a real cute idea. So we shall see about that. Hopefully in the next few weeks I'll have that up and ready and available. So but anyway, I can't think of anything else to talk about unless you've got something else, you want to know. But like I said, I'm going to post the instructions, and you'll be able to download that. You can find alcohol inks on Amazon. However, you're not going to find individual colors as readily as you could if you went to a shop that carries those things. There's a couple of them that come to my mind. I'll put those down in the post with the instructions as well, so that you can find them. So that way you don't have to buy kits of 3 different colors that you don't really want to get one color that you do want. So Susan, what do you mean? Did I lose any impression on your bracelet? Did I lose it? Any detail, do you mean? Did I lose any detail on it? No, I didn't. It came out better than I imagined. This is with silver clay. Any detail? No, I got it all. I got all the detail on it. Now, I haven't seen it pressed in sheet silver, but with this, I'm very satisfied with it. And it's nice and substantial. It's thick enough, but not too thick. And of course, with the clay, it's a little smaller than it would have been if I used sheet silver, because it shrinks when you torch it. But I'm very satisfied with it. So I'm very, very happy with that. And the other bracelet that I did, a full bracelet of links that I posted a couple of weeks ago, that link is still available on their on Potter's, I don't know, the dies that they have for 6 months. That's still available. The other one, the other link. But I don't think this one is right now, unless you already have it. So, all right. I think I've covered everything, guys. So I'm going to finish my pumpkin orders that I have now, and then I'm going to try to figure out what I'm going to do next time. If you have ideas, pass them my way, so I have interesting things that you want to see to present. So, all right. See you all. Thanks for watching. I always enjoy when you're here with me. Take care. Bye-bye.